Okay, so today I have with me another vehicle from the CTS lineup from Cadillac. This time it's the 2011 Cadillac CTS-V Coupe Black Diamond Edition. This car is very rare, not many on the road, and if you own one, you're someone who's special. So huge shout out to my friend David for lending me his keys today with this car. I will put a link in the description below where you guys can go check out his family-owned jewelry shop. They do everything from watches to, you know, necklaces, rings, diamonds, anything like that, and a bunch to do with clocks and things like that. So super awesome. Again, link in the description below. So you guys stick around for this review. This is going to be super fun, super exciting. Let's jump right into it. Okay, so what's really awesome about this car is that it had its own unique black 19-inch rims. On a lot of the CTS-V coupes or sedans, you'll see the chrome wheels, and specifically for this Black Diamond Edition, they gave it 19-inch rims all the way around, 8.5s in the front, 9s in the rear, finished in this, I don't know if it's a gloss, but it's a semi-gloss black, beautiful, just sets it off. Obviously you have the extremely vivid yellow 6-piston front calipers in the front and 4-piston in the rear. Massive rotors. I'm not sure exactly what size they are, but they're great for stopping. Obviously you need it with this 556 horsepower and 551 foot-pounds of torque. In fact, I can feel it now because I was just driving this car. With this 6.2 liter Z06 derived engine, you've got a massive supercharger on it. So when you're really, I mean, you don't even have to be driving it super hard, and it produces so much heat. So you really need all the heat extraction that you can. I'm a little surprised that they didn't add more ventilation, something, you know, functional that they have on the, you know, higher end supercars and things like, even though this isn't a supercar per se, just more cooling. I think they could have done with, you know, maybe something from the hood or even in the fenders down here just to pull. I mean, the brakes on this thing have to get extremely hot if you're driving it aggressively. So that's one critique that I think I would give Cadillac. Let's go to the front. Okay, so coming around to the front of this car, the first thing that I noticed as an enthusiast, as this is a performance car, is this front diffuser, front splitter, whatever you want to call it. It's plastic, which is, you know, it's whatever. If it was carbon fiber, that'd be really cool. But I can tell you that this is kind of scraped up, and this car does ride pretty low. So I could see people blowing through those things in no time, and it just wouldn't be fun to drive because you'd always be worrying about, you know, am I going to wreck that? Is it going to be thousands of dollars? As a dealer accessory, I'm sure this is only a couple $100 with it being plastic, so that's nice. Another thing that's cool about this, besides the little squirters that you have to clear off your headlights if they get dirty, are these directional bi-xenon headlights. So what I mean by directional is that when you're going around turns and things like that, they actually follow the contour of the road based on where your steering is. So you see things before you get around that corner, which is really nice. And with a performance car that costs a lot of money, you obviously want to avoid hitting things. The Black Diamond Edition paint that they have for this vehicle is outstanding. And that might sound, you know, like you're just a fanboy, but really no, this sparkle, the aluminum sparkle that they have in this Black Diamond Edition paint is beautiful. In the sun, from every angle, it looks different, which really gives it depth. Obviously with Cadillac, you know, focusing on beauty as well as performance, the front end is by far one of the prettiest front ends that I've seen on a vehicle in a while. So like I said earlier, underneath the hood of this beast is a 6.2 liter supercharged V8 right from the Corvette Z06. It has 556 horsepower and 551 foot-pounds of torque. It's an extremely powerful engine, and with hardly any money at all, you can put a smaller pulley on this and just do you know, a tune and some other things, and you can really crank up the horsepower on this engine. Overall, I'm extremely impressed, and with being able to keep the center of gravity low, even though the hood is popped out because of this massive supercharger, the handling of this car is brilliant. So being that this is a Cadillac, it obviously has their smart key access system with, you know, automatic trunk release, automatic lock and unlock, and, you know, an alarm and things like that. The key fob is pretty nice. If I hold down the trunk button here, the trunk pops right open, but the trunk really has a lot of space. Right now I have my backpack for my camera gear, you know, my tripod thing, and you could really fit a lot of groceries in here. So I think if you're trying to convince your spouse that this could be a daily grocery getter, even though it is a coupe, and if you have kids, you can fit kids in the back, it's no problem. Ladies out there, just so you know. So this really is, it's pretty practical. Now getting into the driving review, which I'll do a little bit later, which make sure you stick around for that because it's extremely visceral. You know, the ride quality to make this a daily driver is a little bit questionable, especially if you live in the Midwest like I do. You probably wouldn't want to drive this in the winter, but to each his own, I guess. Something about this car too that is unique to just this car is that it has an aftermarket, I believe it's a catback Corsa exhaust system. I'm not sure if it's the Extreme specifically, but really, really amazing sounding exhaust, which I will do a exhaust startup for you guys right now. So actually getting into this car, it's pretty cool because of the styling of it. They didn't want to have door handles in the door. So what you have to do is you actually just reach in here into this little pocket, and there's a pressure sensitive switch, I guess, and it pops right open. It's really, really cool. So with being a passenger in this car, you can really expect almost just as much comfort, if not just as much comfort in this car as the driver themselves. Obviously, with this being the V, you know, everything is soft touch on the dash. You have this accented stitching. You have real wood grain on the doors. You have the I like to call it the peanut butter Alcantara suede on the doors. You also have it on the seats here, on the bottoms and the backs, which, by the way, these are Recaro seats from the factory, and they are both driver's side and passenger side 14-way adjustable seats, which is huge for having Recaro seats. Not only that, but they're also fully heated and cooled on both sides, which is really awesome. Kind of like I showed you guys in the last CTS sedan review. Same thing going on there, but really nice because they didn't skimp out. You know, some of the vehicles nowadays, like the newer Mustangs and stuff, you can get an optional Recaro seat from the factory, but they cut out, you lose the adjustability, the electronic adjustability, you lose the heating and cooling functions. So to know that you can get these really nicely bolstered, designed seats, which by the way are also leather, so leather and Alcantara, and having all those amenities in the seats is really amazing. Okay, so what does being a driver feel like in this car? Well, as you can see, plenty of leg room. The 14-way adjustability on these Recaro seats are amazing. You see leather. You see Alcantara wrapped steering wheel that is amazing in your hands. You have piano black trim everywhere with real wood grain accents on the center console. You have more piano black trim across the passenger side dash. Everything else is trimmed out in chrome, kind of like the other CTS. That's just kind of Cadillac style. But everything is very driver focused. There's not really much, like I said earlier, going on the passenger side besides some heated and cooled seats. So as a driver, very driver focused. You do have two nice size cup holders, which I have a water bottle in. The same setup with the center console like the last CTS review I did. The 6-speed manual transmission in this car, I have to say, is really notchy. It performs how you would expect it to perform. It does feel like you're in a Corvette. The drivetrain, the chassis, the engine, everything is pretty much Corvette. So if you like the way a Corvette feels, you'll like the way that this car feels. So I'm going to get it out on the road and I'm going to show you guys just how this thing sounds and how it drives. All right, guys, so now for the driving portion of the review, filming day number 2. So, just my first impression on driving this car, the transmission, number 1, is the Tremec 6-speed transmission. That's very well known for its durability and its capability of handling high horsepower numbers. So beautiful transmission. Being able to tune the suspension, there is the little shock icon here. If you just hit it once, it says suspension mode tour. If you hit it again, it says suspension mode sport, which stiffens up the suspension. Doesn't do anything to the power as far as I know. I'm pretty sure you always have full accessibility to the power in this car. But something I did want to touch on and mention was the traction control options that you have. So regular, right out of the gate, traction control is just like any other traction control. It's going to assist you right away, make sure that you don't spin out of control, and keep your tires on the road. The second option you have is to click it twice, and it says StabiliTrak competitive mode, which essentially what it's saying is, it's going to allow you to take this to the track or something, still have assistance on the road without being a professional driver, and still be able to have fun, but it's going to let you break loose a little bit. The third option, you're actually able to hold that traction control button down for 5 seconds, which I just did, and it says StabiliTrak off, which is really awesome. So now we're looking at back in the days before there was any driver assistance technology when it comes to traction control and that sort of thing. So I'm not going to keep it in that though, because I don't trust myself. So let me do a couple of polls just to give you guys a little bit of the experience. So that was second to third, and by the time I was in the medium rev range of third gear, I was already at 80. So in a normal car with less power than this car has, the gearing would feel long, but you don't even notice because there's so much linear power band with this supercharged 6.2 liter. But all in all, when you're getting on this car and really laying into the throttle with stability control all the way on, assisting you, it's very confidence inspiring. You don't feel like you have to worry about spinning out or anything like that or losing control, because it's very firmly planted. All right, so with this Tremec 6-speed transmission being derived from the Corvette ZR1. The engine's obviously slightly detuned, but this transmission is beautiful, and it really just locks into gear. All right, so we're in second gear, going about 35, so here we go. Gearing just locked right in. I didn't have to guess where I was. Beautiful shifting, and really high spring rate on the clutch. It's in a good way. It's not too heavy. When you let the clutch out as you're going through the gears, you can really just let it out and it catches, and there's no slipping whatsoever. All the gearing is really direct, and it's made for aggressive shifting. I mean, that's why you buy these cars. You don't buy these cars on accident. This car is a purpose-bought car, and it's also purpose-built. So if you have any desire of getting a track car for, road courses and stuff, this is a really good option, and especially for the price. So this car was actually purchased in the $40,000 range, not $40,000, but somewhere in there. And I know I've seen these cars, just the regular CTS-V Coupe, non-Black Diamond edition, in the 30s to 40s. So it really depends on mileage, how well it was taken care of, and how much money someone is trying to make. But, paying for your buck wise, I guess let's talk about price and value. With all the creature comforts that you get in here, with all the, you have tons of technology. You have an awesome navigation that is touchscreen. You have, a regular CD player. You have heated and cool 14-way adjustable Recaro seats from the factory that are leather and Alcantara suede inserted. I mean, you don't find those typically in a car of this caliber. These are not your everyday cars, and to have one of these it's a rare find. I know that the owner, my friend David, he went through an extensive background search for this car. It has the Tremec 6-speed. It's fully loaded with the Recaros, the Alcantara, the suede, or the leather. I mean, the navigation, the adjustability with the suspension, just everything, anything and everything that you could get on this car, he has. Which it took him a long time to find this car. So I think you'd be even more hard pressed to find it nowadays. Now that with this being in 2011, he bought this in 2013 and had that hard of a time. With it being 2018, almost 2019, might be even harder. And the thing is that people hang on to these cars. They don't want to let these cars go because, even though Cadillac, I think these started around $75,000 MSRP when they first came out, being that this car was only a couple years old, and I think it had about 25,000 miles on it when he bought it. He paid, somewhere in the 40s for it, and so it kind of shows you the depreciation. But I think after a certain point, these cars really hold their value. And even if they don't, I mean, a car holding its value really only matters if you ever plan on selling it again. And with a car like this, it's all about the driver experience, and I wouldn't see why you would ever want to sell a car like this unless you needed to. All right, guys, so I'm just going to do a quick launch and let you guys experience what I'm experiencing. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's review on this awesome Cadillac CTS-V Coupe. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button so that you get notified every time I come out with a new video. I'm trying to get as much new content as I can, so hit me up if you have any car that you want me to review or suggestions. That'd be awesome. Again, I want to give another shout out to my friend David. Thank you so much for giving me the keys to this car today. And I'm putting a link in the description below where you can go check out his family-owned jewelry store. everything from watches, clocks to jewelry. They're called Beal Jewelers. They're located in Delavan, Wisconsin. So go ahead and go check that link out in the description below. Otherwise, guys, thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned to the next video.